Good morning. It's 11 o'clock. I am OCD about time, so there's nobody on yet, but that's okay. At least I'm here, and I'd rather me wait on you than you wait on me. So, and the way it works, it may not be 11 o'clock yet on your clock. For me, it is 11 o'clock. There's one. Okay, good. Thank you. I at least know that I pushed the right button. Sometimes I think the worst part of this is just waiting for that 11 o'clock or that time period that you say you're going to do this. I woke up in the middle of the night having a bad dream that it was 11:30 and I was involved in something else, and I was like, oh no, I forgot. So anyway, I just want to make sure that I got on here because I want to respect your time. And so thank y'all for being here. Robin, I'm so glad you're on here. If you can help me maybe with questions, because we're going to work with some Dixie, Belle, Crackle. And so let me see if I can get my iPad to work in here. Sorry guys, I should have already done that. There we go. Okay. So yes, so I'm gonna not be able to look at questions as much. So if Robin, you'll help me, that would be great. And then whoever else is on here, so that it's not all the burdens on her. Welcome. Glad y'all are here. 2 weeks in a row. Oh my goodness. And I'm still nervous as a cat. So anyway, hopefully one day that will pass, but that's okay. We'll just roll with it. So anyway, thank y'all for being here. And what I want to show you today is Dixie Belle. I'm a Dixie Belle retailer. I'm a premier retailer, which means I carry all the Dixie Belle products. And one of their products is Crackle. And a lot of people tend to have a difficult time with it, because it's Crackle, it's unpredictable, and sometimes we like predictability. I know that I do. If I can't get it, sometimes I tend to give up. But anyway, I've had some people reach out to me and ask me about the Crackle, and so I thought this would be a great time to do it because I have a way to show you if it doesn't work for you the way it's intended and you like this other look, then I have another way. So, and I want to show you that because I like rusty, crusty, worn, just grungy. I love that. And there are some people that like that, some people don't. But anyway, if you're one that likes that, you're gonna love this. So I'm just saying. Okay, I'm gonna get started. For one thing, I wanna show you, and if you saw my post yesterday, then you'll have seen this. But this is what I wanna show you. I'm gonna show you the original intent of how it works, but I wanted to show you this as well. This is just a old terracotta pot. I found 3 of them at a garage sale. They were just sitting there. It was just the orange terracotta, and they've sat here forever. And then I got this hankering and this idea. And so now every time I see any kind of pot or anything that's grungy, then I grab it up. And so I would encourage you to do the same thing. You can find, these are things, I want to show you how to do things that you probably already have in your garage and or things that you can pick up readily and easily. But anyway, terracotta pots are really good. Any kind of pottery. I've got this that I love these little urn things. I get these at Hobby Lobby. I've also found them, really old, which are even better. But anyway, just anything like this. But I'm also going to show you how it works on glass. So, but anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, anyway, so I just wanted to be able to show you this. This is what I want to really hone in on, okay? And of course, anybody that knows me knows I love the drippy look, and I'll show you about that. Okay, first thing I want to show you is Crackle. So this is, and I know this is backwards, and I'm not for sure how to turn it around yet. I'm not that good at this. So anyway, but this is Crackle, Dixie Belle Crackle. It's very thick. The first time, one of the first times I ever used it was at a Dixie Belle workshop a couple of years ago. And the girl that was teaching the class, she had us putting the paint down, then she had us, and we dried it, we put the Crackle down, we dried that, and then we went back over the paint to make it crackle. And she stood over me and said, don't overwork it. One time, do it one time, do it one time. And it made me nervous. And then I was like, I want to see how to do this maybe doing it once or twice. So I kind of learned the heart that way, but I, like I said, want to just be able to show you how that works, but also another way. Okay. It's very thick. It's, I don't know if I can get it to show you, but anyway, it's very thick. It's kind of clearish. What best thing to always do is be able to stir it up. So I've got tons of these tongue depressors, and I just stir. You just want to stir it up. It's very, it's like syrup, I guess. It's probably has sugar in it because I have used it before, and all of a sudden here comes a fruit fly. So anyway, I just stir it up really good. You can use a regular brush, but I would encourage you to use chip brushes, okay? So I'm gonna move you down so you can see a little better. Okay, so I get these, I love these little chip brushes, and that way when they get gooey, you can just, toss them. Sometimes if I'm doing, I try to do several things at one time that I'm working on. If I'm doing I just need some of this on a light project, then I'll just take a baby wipe. After I don't soak it with the Crackle, I'll take a baby wipe and kind of clean it back. And then I'll put it in a baggie sometimes, and then it'll preserve it some. But anyway, so this is just a regular chip brush, cheap chip brush. And this is just a metal tin. It's just a tin. So I'm hoping that y'all can see this. So I'm gonna dip it some, it's not, it will run if you put too much on there, which that's okay too. But I just usually do this, and I'm gonna show you two different ways that I do it, okay? So the first one is I literally brush it on. And you don't wanna, again, you don't wanna overwork it, but you can kind of smooth it out. So again, not a whole lot on there. And it will be definitely shiny. And it is definitely sticky. But I don't like to, I don't want the whole thing to look fabricated, crackled. So I kind of skip some spaces. As you can see, but if you want, you can literally cover every space on here, okay? So that's kind of, hopefully y'all can see that. Okay, the other way that I do, this would be the way it was intended to use, so that you'll be able to see the real crackle in there. But the other way that I like to do it on these, like the pot that I used, I dip it in, get it on, and then I pounce it on just in certain areas, not everywhere. I just pounce it. And I guess the way I think about it is, if you were to see an old pot back in the day that was sat out and the paint had worn off of it and it was starting to chip off, that's kind of, you want to be able to look at it from the back side, or on the other side of it instead of the front side, and then you want to make this side of it look like what you want it to look like on the other side. Hope that makes sense. So I'm thinking about where it might, where would things wear? Where would the paint wear off? If time and a rain hit it, where's the rain and where's the water going to wear off the paint? So that's kind of how I do that, okay? So hopefully y'all can see that. So you can still see places that there's not any crackle, okay? Again, it is sticky. And then I always just close it back up, okay? Now, this is all right, let me get a baby wipe because it really is sticky. Okay, this is just a little tray, two-tiered tray. And I did the bottom part already. So I put Crackle on it already, this side and this side. But like yesterday, I painted this because I wanted you to be able to see all that Crackle. And this is one I just painted the whole thing with Crackle, let it dry, And again, it's going to depend on your dry time, you know, how humid it is, you know, heat, cold, whatever. But you just want it to be dry. And so I painted it all the way around, and you can just see that yummy crackle, okay? And this is what it looks like when it's dry. And I've done this, and I mean, I've sometimes done pieces like this very part, and let it sit literally for weeks. And I go back and I paint over it, and it reactivates, and it crackles. So that's how, you don't have to do all this in one step if you don't want to, or, you know, in one day, okay? So I'm gonna use, and this, just, okay, FYI, this is drop cloth, Dixie Belle's drop cloth. This right here is our patina guard. I was gonna patina this, and then I thought, nah, I'm gonna use it for the crackle. So anyway, that's what that is. That's just the patina guard. It's just a rusty color. That's just the underneath color, because I want that to show through in my cracks. So I'm just pouring out, these are my FIFO bottles. Love, love, love these. And this is a Dixie Belle, Belle brush, I think. No, it's not, so it's a round small. Anyway, so I dip my paint. Nope, I'm gonna dampen my brush, because brushes always usually work better when they're a little bit damp. Don't have a whole lot. And again, if you put a lot of paint on your piece, you're gonna see bigger cracks. If you do less paint, you're gonna see less cracks. So, and I just paint it on. And again, you don't want to overwork it, but you don't want it, you can hit it more than just one time. I mean, you will start to see cracks pretty quick. Y'all see that? And it gives up some texture, some roughness. And again, then it will, when it dries, it will look like this. So you can do this on just about anything, okay? Okay, I'm not gonna bore you with all that, but as you can start to see, it will work, okay? Sorry, I forgot to turn off my notifications. Okay, these is just another idea. I just want you to start looking for things that you're going to find at a thrift store, Goodwill, garage sales, estate sales, wherever you go. There's so many things you can find. And like this is a old spool they used back in the day for, I guess, with yarn and but anyway, it's a really large one. But I love to use these and put flowers in them. Of course, you can't see. Then it's got the hole in it. And it's a great little, if you're looking for something that's rustic-like, you can use this as like a vase. So anyway, but I'm going to show you how. Again, this one I painted the whole thing in Crackle. I didn't leave any skips or anything in it. And you can see, again, the texture that's in there. That's what it's going to look like when you do this. And when you paint, it just reactivates that crackle and causes the cracks. And I know a lot of people say they have a hard time with it not working right, but I think it's because I tend to overwork it, and you just want to put one coat on and it will start to crack. Okay. All right. So that's the intended use. So I'm going to show you how I like to use it. Yeah, I'm going to do this one first. Okay, this is something I found at a garage sale, and it was an old lantern lamp where they would pour the oil in here. There used to be it was a metal piece on top, and it had prongs that came out, and then there was a globe like that would sit on top of it. This was all glass, so it's not metal, or it's just like I said, it is glass. I coated it with our Dixie Belle Slick Stick. It's a product that we have that is phenomenal. You can put it on laminate, glass, plastic, anything that's shiny. it gives great adherence. So it comes in white. You paint it on, you let it sit overnight. You can paint 1 to 2 coats, it depends on your preference. Let it sit overnight, come back the next day, and you literally cannot scratch it off. And then you can paint on top of it, whatever it is. Otherwise, you would have a harder time having paint literally stick to this and not slide off. So anyway, so I did that, put slick stick on it, let it sit. Then I painted it with a darker color because I wanted the dark to be able to shine through or come through. And then and this was coffee bean, Dixie Belle's coffee bean. So it's a blackish brown. And then I put the Crackle on. And so now you can see with the lights how I used some of it. I put the Crackle on some of it and not on some of the others. So now I just want to show you how I do this using paint and baby wipes. And I told you last week that I feel guilty for using baby wipes right now, but I have a case of them, so I'm going to use them. Okay, this is sea glass. I tend to, some of these, I want you to see the darker color. I'm not coming through this, so this is a really pretty color. It's a sea glass. So, spray my brush, dip it in, and I'm just gonna paint it on. And it really doesn't matter if you overwork it or not. I mean, you don't want to work too much because then it will, I'm not looking for cracks at this point. I'm looking for distress. Again, it gives great texture if that's what you want. It does need to kind of dry, so you don't want it, so thick that it takes a while to dry. But you don't want it totally dry. Sorry, I'm not not a multitasker, y'all. Talking and doing this at the same time. It's not in my wheelhouse. Okay, so you're gonna start to see where it pulls. So I'm gonna give that just a few minutes, or just enough. And I'm gonna show you one more thing. I'm gonna paint this, so I'm gonna show you how to pull this back. This is, again, this little urn. I guess it's an urn. It's kind of like, where the plants come out and it sits flat. All I did, this is the original coat, the original color that was on there, and I just applied the Crackle, just like I showed you, just dabbing it on there. And this is, I wanted to use a darker color because this is light, just so you'll see the contrast. This is Bunker Hill Blue. It's a really pretty, it's not navy, but it's a really pretty blue. You can see that. Okay. This has already got, cracks in it. So this is, things like pots, this works even better on. On things like this, anything that has a lip, I usually like to leave the lip undone, not painted, so that I can come back and give it this darker top, just because I think that's how you would find it if you found it in an old garden or back in the day. Okay, so I'm gonna let that set aside so I can show you that. This is already almost dry. You can see some shine, but this is kind of the texture that you want. It still could dry a little bit more for my liking, but for safety's sake, just so that I don't keep y'all here all day, we're gonna go with this, okay? Okay, this is just a baby wipe. I usually use ones that are lint-free-ish as much as possible. This is just a damp baby wipe, and I just go in and just literally go in and just smush it. I know that's not probably the right word, but just take, and you just kind of take and twist. When you take and twist it, it starts to pull. Oh my gosh, y'all, look at that. No, that's what I love right there. So it leaves it on there, but it also takes some off. So, and I just do that as much as, much as I want, especially around edges that I think, there would really be worn looks. You can still get some great crackle in there, cracks that like the way it was intended to use. And I just take and just, sometimes maybe it pulls back a little bit more than what you want, but that's easy. When it's dry, then you just go back and you put a little more paint back on there. And then if it starts to get where it's not, it's not damp enough, I try to use as few as I can. And then if it looks like it's, smudgy, it's easy just to pat it back. But again, just look at that. So when I do this whole thing, it's gonna be able to, especially up here when you get in this, there's a design, there's like some leaves on here. I'll let that dry for a second so I can see it, so I can show y'all how that pulls back. This is almost dry. Again, depending on how much paint you put on there, you may have to wait just a little bit. Just take and twist. I usually just kind of work my baby wipe around. But when you start to see how this works, and then when you start to see it dry, and then you can go back and put a glaze over it after you've finished it. If you want it a little darker, you can put a glaze over it. You can seal it. You can put it out in the yard. You can, again, set it somewhere, have, flowers coming out of it. It's just, and it looks like something that you found a long time ago, and you've repurposed and reused something that you found somewhere else. So, trying to think what else. So this. So that is just how to, that's just a great way to have fun. This other one that I showed you, I almost did a minute ago. Here it is. So it's dry, and look at all that crackle. So it's not a hard product to use, and I know that it can be sometimes intimidating, but it's really not. Let me just walk this through, because I don't really have anything I don't have anything that I can show this to you on that's done. But anyway, this right here, the whole thing was done like this. And up here, I mixed some browns to paint together. I used chocolate, and coffee bean, because I didn't want it that dark, but I didn't want it this light. So I mixed it just a little bit. And I think, I'm not for positive, I think I did, I even mixed a little bit of terracotta in there. So these three together, just to mix just a little bit, just to give you that. You can also use brown wax, but these are, if you don't want to use a wax and you just want it to look kind of watercolored like, you can do this, and then you can add your water, and it just gives it this look. And with it, I literally just took and dabbed the paint on, and then I just kind of went and wiped it back a little bit. So just to give it that darker look. And then I squirted it with water to give it some runs so that it looked like it was kind of wearing down in the rain. Okay, that was kind of quick and easy, or hopefully it was easy. Is there any questions? Let me see. What was the brown color on the glass lampshade? The brown color on the this was coffee bean. So it's brown. It's a really, it's like an espresso brown. It's got a black undertone, so it's a really, really dark, rich brown. And depending on what you put it on, it can look lighter versus darker, the kind of the material that you put it on. But oh my gosh, I'm sorry, but this is just like, that's what I'm going for, is that right there. And then again, you can accent this with some, dark wax or some glaze in here, just to give it some depth and dimension. And again, this is just a piece of glass. You can put it on metal, glass, plastic, whatever. And the cool thing is, if you find something that you go, oh, that's not going to stick, then you just use the slick stick, and it looks like a primer. So, Billy, it is easy. It really is. Like I said, I know that we tend to wait for somebody else to show us how to do it. I do that sometimes too. So, I just would love for y'all to be able to, for the way I do things. Some people ask me, how's my brain work? I can't tell you that. I don't even know. But a lot of times I think of things like this. I see, like I said, a pot, or I see some kind of image. I see, I can't remember if I told y'all this last week, but back a year ago, my husband and I were floating in the pool, and we just got our pool redone, and we got a new tile. And I was just floating, and I looked over and I saw our tile, and I thought, oh my gosh, I love those colors. I'm going to paint a piece of furniture with those colors. And I did. So I just tried to figure out what those colors were, and then I just tried to figure out how to do it. So this very thing that I just showed you, you can do on furniture. You can do the straight on Crackle, or you can do the pullback to make it look like it's just old and worn. It's an old world look. So where do you get the paints? I'm a Dixie Belle retailer, so I can get you those paints. I can drop ship those paints to you. If you would like to reach out to me, or just let me know, holler at me, message me, and I will get you a color chart, and I will walk you through that. I sell the paints in Waxahachie, at Old Town Village in Waxahachie. I have a booth there. Right now we are temporarily closed, but I still have access to the paints. So I can get those for you if you're local in the Waxahachie, Midlothian area. So I will be glad to do that. Thank you, Nancy, for reminding me to tell you that. I have used, several paints that I found. A friend of mine, I didn't find it, a friend of mine found Dixie Belle paints and gave me a sample of it, and told me to, hey, you paint furniture, give this a try. And I fell in love with it. It's just absolutely my favorite. So that's just definitely, I immediately picked up the phone and called Dixie Belle, and the owner of the company answered, and we talked through it, and I've decided I want to be a retailer. So I am a retailer and can get that paint for you. And again, I'm a premier, so I carry all the products. So if you have any questions about the products, some of you have reached out to me and said, I have the product, but I've never used it before. How do I use it? So that's really what I want to do, is just encourage you to if you got these products, they're not doing any good on our shelves, but they are good when you sit there, and especially in this downtime, we have our creative juices are flowing, and we don't really know, what we can do with it. But sometimes all it takes is picking up a paintbrush. And my mentor, Dion Woods, who is the turquoise iris, this shirt says, if I can, you can. So I decided today that was a perfect time for me to use this shirt, because if she can, I can. But she told me one time I got stuck on a piece, and she said, you need to pick up your paintbrush and just start painting. And I'm like, but I don't know what I'm going to do. And she said, just pick up your paintbrush and just start painting, and it will come to you. And it does. She said, and I agree, there's something unlocks in your brain, and the creativity starts to flow. So I would highly encourage you to do that, especially in this time that we're down and out. Not out, we're down, in that we are in our more sheltered place. So this is a great time to be able to experiment with things, experiment with paints. So I would highly encourage you to do that. If you have any questions, please reach out to me and ask. I love to talk about paint. I love to talk about products. I love to just chit chat about all that. So please reach out, and don't hesitate to do that. And I'm glad to answer any questions. I will go back. I did this last week. I will go back and review and go through the questions and answer the things that did not get answered by some of the other retailers that were on here. And so I will acknowledge you, and I will answer your questions. So continue to do that. I hope that y'all have a good day. It's sun shining here, and we have not had sunshine except for yesterday in a long time. So enjoy your day. It is a good day. It really is a good day. And again, like I said last week, we are closer to the end than we were even last week. And again, I'm going to say what I say to myself every morning. Hold on to what you know. And this morning I know I woke up. I know I'm breathing. I know my brain is clicking. I know that y'all are all here, and I'm all here, and I'm not talking to myself. So the list can go on and on. So thank y'all for being here. I appreciate each one of you. Appreciate your encouragement. It has meant so much to me. So anyway, I will sign off, and I will start trying to think of the next thing to do. Okay? And if y'all have any ideas, pass them on to me. Okay? I appreciate y'all. Thank you. Bye.